focusing on that throughout MDC for a number of years, but she's also runs New York's Women in VC group and does mentoring at Build by Girls. Please welcome Jessica and the panel.
Good morning. Wow, really is morning. Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about this trend of D2C, direct-to-consumer brands. This is a trend that we've been tracking in the venture community for years, but as more and more of these startups start to gain traction with the Dollar Shave Clubs being acquired by Unilever, Bonobos being acquired, Trunk Club being acquired, we wanted to take this panel to dig in a little bit more into what is the DNA of some of these brands, what are some of the differences in how they approach their go-to-market, their awareness, their data, their retail strategy. What can traditional brands learn from some of this next generation of brands? So we have an amazing panel today that I want to let everybody introduce themselves, and then we will dig in. Seiya, do you want to start?
Sure. So, is that working?
Yeah.
All right. Nice to meet everyone. I'm Seiya. I run growth marketing at Vogt. Vogt is a wholesale goods company where you can buy your daily essentials. All wholesale. Imagine something like a Costco, except completely online. You can stock up and save for your house. And growth marketing at Vogt essentially is all the digital channels that are driving revenue into our business. So acquisition, retention, life cycle, loyalty. We have a paid loyalty program, which we could talk about. All of those things will roll up into me.
And good morning. I'm Alexandra Stankiewicz. I go by Alex. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer and Head of Online Sales at ALOHA. ALOHA is an organic, plant-based protein company. So we make protein powders and protein bars that are all plant-based, which is a super hot segment in the category right now, quickly growing. So I oversee all of marketing, partnerships, social, PR, innovation, all that good stuff. And I oversee our online sales as well. So our website, our Amazon business, Jet.com, Thrive Market, et cetera. I came the first 8 years of my career from the creative agency side. So I worked at Mother and worked on a variety of different CPG brands like Johnson & Johnson, Stella Artois, and then I worked at Chobani for a bit, and Calvin Klein too, a stint in fashion.
Good morning. I'm Jordan, and I lead growth marketing at BarkBox, which is the lead business for Bark. And what we do at BarkBox is we are a monthly subscription, delivering toys, treats, chews, and just like great dog experiences to hundreds of thousands of customers. And we're really built on the idea of the connection between the dog and the human and being a dog-centric brand, which is unique. And in our growth marketing department, I'm responsible for user acquisition across all traditional and digital channels. We're obviously mostly digital at this point, but kind of spawning out into all the different channels where we can reach customers.
So I want to start by just zooming out a little bit more and looking at each of your businesses and categories through the lens of an entrepreneur. You're in protein, dog food, distribution. What is it about these categories that made them ripe for disruption? What were some of the inefficiencies that your founders or your team saw in those verticals?
I can start with that one. So although I'm fairly new to the company, if you talk to any of the founders, they'll just tell you that there literally wasn't an online solution for wholesale goods online. So the founders started working out of a garage, created an online portal where you could log in and buy those goods, like 20-pack toilet paper, paper towels, stuff like that, and immediately started getting sales because there was interest in it, right? So I think part of the answer to your question is that initially, we thought that we would only target areas where, Costco or Sam's Club or BJ's weren't. But in actuality, we see a lot more coverage in areas where there are adjacent, wholesale goods companies where there are brick and mortar, and we're seeing that business due to the fact that people want to save time. They want to have that solution completely online as opposed to having to go in and wait online and go through the entire crowds and spend half your day trying to get those same products that you can get delivered to your house. So I think it was kind of ripe and definitely the right time for someone like us to come in.
Yeah, and our company ALOHA started a few years ago, and it was definitely ripe for disruption then, and I think it still is for today, which is something we're doing. A few years ago, health and wellness was still something that was kind of like crunchy or kind of niche or not for everybody, not totally mass. Obviously it is more today. But at the time, it was like having high quality foods that were affordable and were just good for you. You understood what all the ingredients were. There was no stevia in it. There was no soy in it, no gluten. All of that was very progressive for its time when it started a few years ago. And it was something that consumers very quickly latched onto as seeing a really high quality product that they could actually afford to purchase, and that could fuel their days, their workouts, or just being a really active person. So the brand pretty quickly became a darling in the protein space for being just a better for you product that also had some nice looking packaging and had a cool vibe to it too, really down to earth and connected in an authentic way to the health and wellness movement. So that was pretty disruptive for the space when it had first started, and continues to be for some of the similar reasons.
So the pet industry historically has been kind of like impersonal and a little bit just, I don't know, didn't have too much of a personality, but when you think about the relationship with your dog, if you have one, it is very colorful, it's unique, and I think it's super personal. And I think our founders 6 years ago, walking through places like Petco and PetSmart, we're just not seeing that type of personality shine through, and I don't think there were many online e-commerce sites or subscription sites that offered what they kind of thought up in the subscription space. So I think it was looking at the industry, $72 billion, and also understanding that people wanted convenience and more of a personal touch. And building products that were very dog-focused. So not anyone in this room probably knows this, but dogs need a certain shape to pick something up in their mouth, so we built toys that did that. No one was thinking about, or very few were thinking about allergies that dogs have that are pretty common. So all of our treats that we source and put in our boxes are, specific to allergies that your dog might have. So I think more of that personal and individual touch was where we could disrupt the industry.
So there's a lot of really good nuggets to unpack there that I want to dig into. Alex, you talked a little bit about the packaging and the content and being able to just demonstrate that this is a high quality product. How important is content and building a community of early users in your sales and in your branding? You see brands that are built on through YouTube subscribers that turn into seven-figure business. So how are you using content and community to your advantage?
Content and community for us are like everything. It's super important. Our main target is 25 to 35-year-old women, so content's super important. She wants to be able to engage with the brand in a variety of ways and places. So having, our website, which is, yes, we sell our products, it should function in that way and be really easy to make a purchase. But there's also articles on there and good recipes and information. So if she wants to just explore and look at different content there, she can. We're also very active on Instagram. We have a lot of unique content there, or things that we do with our influencer friends through organic and paid relationships there. We do Instagram stories, active on LinkedIn and other platforms as well. So it's super important that we are constantly generating content and giving her fun, interesting ways to engage with the brand. In terms of community, that's also really important to us. So I sit with my team. I work at a startup, so there's 10 of us. It's a really small team, not too hard to have sort of regular real-time interactions with each other. But we do sit down as a formal team every month and go through all of our analytics, and we talk about our community and make sure that we're looking at all of the data that we can, but then also listening to insights. We listen to CX calls together. We look at some of the live chats that come through together as a team. We have a tribe, which is 3,600 consumers that have just opted in to receive communications from us and surveys from us. So that's without paying them. Sometimes if it's a more extensive survey, we do offer them, a gift card or something, but we regularly tap in to them, to our tribe, and gather information from them, gather insights, and use that to shape our marketing, whether that's partnerships, social, whatever, messaging, whatever, what we're doing with e-com, whatever it is. So it's very important to us to be consumer-centric.
And Seiya, you're in a really interesting category with arguably a lot of buddies like Amazon and even Brandless that's coming up. So how are you using content or your membership base to differentiate yourself in the market and make sure consumers know when and why to go to a box?
So I think that there's actually a lot of overlap in our audiences, to be honest, in that we're targeting similar 25, 35-year-old women, many of them who have families. And I think tapping into what is really interesting or important to them is really key to our strategy as well. So to give you one example, we feel very strongly both internally, but also with, like I said, to cater to our audience, that we actually cover what's called the pink tax. So there's a luxury tax on all feminine hygiene products. Boxed actually pays that tax for our customers. So stuff like that is really important to be able to connect on that basis with our customer base.
How are you communicating that to make sure that consumers know that you're doing that service for them?
Yeah, so I mean, it's across the website. Obviously we've done a bit of PR for it as well. We're always thinking about how we can connect with brands that share similar values to us. And partner with them outside of just pure selling of these types of products. I think it's really important to for brand awareness and for that connection with the brand in order to emphasize those things as well. Yeah.
So Jordan, you mentioned something on our prep call that just really resonated with me, and that you wanted BarkBox to be the friendly neighbor with a dog in terms of how you think about customer service. Can you talk a little bit more about what is your approach to customer service? How are you dealing with it?
Absolutely. So we don't even call our customer service. We call it the happy team. It really vibes with our brand. And I think what we caught on to early on with the happy team is that, once again, like your dog oftentimes is like your child. So when you call up and you have an issue with the product, or something went wrong, or the treat didn't work out and your dog puked it up, like, our response can't be just like, here, we'll send you the next thing. It needs to be more personal. It needs to feel like we're an expert on dogs. So when we built out our happy team, everyone has a dog. Everyone's a dog parent on the happy team. We're available through every type of communication, Skype, chatbots. We respond to every comment on Instagram and Facebook. We try to be, present in all kind of like forms of communication. And we're willing to have conversations that maybe some other, larger companies trying to be super efficient with their time and their spend won't do. So if they call up and they're just saying like, hey, like, my dog got sick, so we can't get a BarkBox, it's not just, or we're going to unsubscribe. Of course, we're going to try to keep that customer with us in some form or fashion. But also, we say, where do you live? And we look up vets that are, from our research, we know that are high quality. And we try to create that connection so they keep on coming back to us as a brand. And as we build out new products that solve different problems for dogs, or create even a more fun connection between the dog and the human, that they'll think of us, you know, and they'll come to us for those products, and kind of just building that for the long term.
So it's creating brand loyalty, trust, services, utility, all within that customer service experience.
Absolutely, and also authenticity, where it's not going to feel like we're just selling you something and the second you want to leave. We're going to, especially in the subscription business, we have a lot of customers come to us and even though it's a commitment, they say like, hey, for this reason or that reason, I want out. It would be easy for us to kind of like close the door on them and say, no, we're going to charge your card because in our terms and services it said you're signed on for this long. So I think it's kind of building that trust long term and, like I said, authenticity.
Alex, do you feel like you have some of those similar DNA around customer service, around ALOHA? And what are some best practices that you think brands in your category or any category should learn from? Does that play into your loyalty, into your repeat purchases? How do you think about it and how do you measure it?
Yeah, again,
the 6 questions in one.
Yeah, I'll start with maybe the first one. Again, just we intend to be very consumer-centric. We really care about our customer and what she thinks about our product, and so we're engaged with her as regularly as we can be through field marketing events, social media, and then through CX. So we actually have, again, part of its nature of being a small, scrappy startup, it's the marketing team that is also doing the CX. So I have a social media manager and a field marketing specialist that are actually also managing our CX. It's super important for us to have really knowledgeable people that are responding to and answering questions, product questions or service questions, things like that, and then can speak to any questions that the consumers have. And we can very quickly make any updates or changes or anything that we need to make. And then any of those insights too, we want. So someone actually DM'd us earlier this week just raving about these new bars, these protein bars that we just came out with. They have lower sugars. They're rolling out this fall just 4 grams of sugar, but still like 14 grams of protein. And she was just super jazzed about it and was DMing us. And it's like, yeah, send me that quote. Like, let's talk about this. Like, what else could we do? Is this something that we could share on an Instagram story? So it's fun having CX plugged into our team so we can always be sharing those insights, or if something's up with anything problematic, we're able to address that all like very quickly.
Sorry, if I can build on that too, I think I strongly believe that the customer support or experience really starts like as soon as you hit our website, right? So we try to make it extremely easy to get what you want and when you want it as quick as possible. So not only did we build a user experience that I feel pretty proud about, but post-purchase we're shipping to you pretty much as fast as Amazon Prime without any membership fee. So I think like those kind of features and services are really important to get in front of your customer as well, and to connect on that level. So if it's something that they need for a party on the weekend, they know that they can rely on us, right? And on the flip side, I also think it's very proactive when you know you aren't going to be able to deliver in that time frame. So I think the storm pretty recently in the Carolinas, like that was an example of something where we actually told our customers, hey, I'm sorry, but we're actually not going to be able to deliver to you. And I think like that was really important to get in front of some of those increase of tickets that we may have seen if we said nothing and just took people's money. But instead we said, hey, we actually value you, and we know that it's an important time. You really need to get these products. Like, it's not our fault, unfortunately, but UPS and FedEx and whatnot, like we literally cannot ship to you. So if you put your order in, you'll get it in the following week. So I think that really helped to to connect with people on that level when during times like that.
So I think that some of the common themes that we're seeing here is consumers are expecting transparency, consumers are expecting accessibility, consumers are expecting personalization in terms of understanding their needs. How do you scale that? How do you scale one-to-one communications? Are you using tools like chatbots and message.ai? Are you just scaling your happy team, your customer success team? How do you maintain that as you grow as a startup?
I can go for it. I think it's in a lot of the ways you just described. I mean, our customer happy team is larger than our corporate office in New York. They're out in Columbus, Ohio, so it's just sheer numbers. And really cultivating that and investing in that area is super important for us. And then it is using chatbots. It's having robust data around every customer interaction so we can go back, and as soon as that customer calls up again, we look at the screen and we say, all right, well, this person has this breed of dog, and they called up 2 months ago about an allergy issue, and they actually want to have express interest in this type of product, and being able to have that personal conversation, but it's very much built off the tech and data that we're also investing in. Like Seiya had mentioned, kind of like having the chatbots on site in every communication around shipping for every monthly box that we send out, having one click into a chat. So just making it very transparent and easy, using our marketing channels and also using tech.
Just as a quick show of hands, how many people in this room use chatbots as a way to scale customer conversations? Wow, interesting. Okay, cool. So if we want to dig into that maybe a little bit more, to share how are you using some of these scalable technologies to reach consumers on a one-to-one way?
I think one thing I do want to, it's not exactly chatbot related, but it's very data-driven related, is that we actually, will routinely release features that we think, our data can really inform customers' purchasing decisions. So we released something called Smart Stock Up that by using data science and algorithms to understand how many people you have in your family, how many children you have, and the types of occasions that you throw, to understand when we think you're going to actually run out of product. So that was a way of getting back in front of the customer, engaging with them through our own data. So if you log into your account, you'll see here are some products that you may need to order right now. And I think that was a really important way, again, to go around some of the scaling issues that we may see.
So if I'm a legacy brand or a traditional brand or even an entrepreneur with a new D2C brand, what are some of the KPIs and the metrics I should be measuring to assess my brand health around customer service, repeat customer orders, things like that? Are there any key critical KPIs that you think can identify brand health? Go ahead.
NPS is one that we look at constantly, and we're constantly trying to increase it. And I think we've Net Promoter Score, which is actually a difficult thing for me to explain as a growth marketer. I'm not responsible for that metric, but it is. It's something that you rank 1 to 10, and you're able to see kind of the growth of how users feel about positively or negatively about your products and your brand. And we really see that correlate in terms of LTV and retention rate. For a subscription business, that's some of the most key metrics to becoming profitable. So NPS, and also more in just the happy teams world, is how quickly we can respond to customers. I think any of us in here knows when you reach out to customer service and you don't hear back for 2 days. That's a really negative experience. Even if the confirmation coming back is not a person, but just saying, hey, we're going to reach out to you at this time. It just feels all right, I've been heard, my issue's going to get addressed. So having systems set up in place where even when it's holiday season and we're at our busiest and we can't respond for 48 hours, letting the customer know that we're there and we're going to get to them soon.
We monitor Net Promoter Score too. We monitor number of calls, average call response time, topic, what they called about. Was it operations or quality or whatever it was, and then sentiment. So, and that's based on the judgment of the person receiving those calls, right? And then we monitor verbatims, or they hold specific calls or chats for us to review as a team on a monthly basis, just so we can have a little more color and context and feel like we're all sort of hearing directly from the consumer.
Yeah, I think just to echo a lot of what everyone said so far. So yeah, definitely NPS, but as far as the ARPU or the lifetime value of a customer, those are really important metrics for us, as well as the frequency of purchases. So we know it's basically 30 to 45 days that you're going to run out of the items that you purchase from us, and since we do sell essentials as well as other pantry items, we kind of know that you're going to need these products and you're going to buy them whether from us or elsewhere. So really understanding that repurchase cycle is really important to understanding the health of our customers too. Like if they enjoyed their first experience with us, if they connected with our brand, we'll know pretty quickly after the first purchase.
Are there any tools in your tech stack that you guys use on an obsessive basis to measure some of these things, whether it's around customer service, CRM? Are there any tools that your team just can't live without?
I think we're lucky enough to have a really strong data science team that's built out, and data team that's built out a lot of the dashboards that will look like on a week-to-week and a day-to-day. We use Periscope for that, and Redshift to store the data in our SQL database. So we'll run queries and create dashboards that I look at pretty obsessively to understand both the health of my month, my quarter, as well as top line metrics like that.
Yeah, I guess there's a few things. So we recently migrated our site about 60 days ago from a totally custom build to Shopify Plus. So I'm slightly obsessed with my Shopify Plus right now. The app is really cool, and I get updates. Like I can feel my phone buzzing here. I get updates every time a sale comes through.
Can you guys imagine if you got an alert? And would you get any work done?
So, but it's also, for us as a small brand, it's like I can see who bought our stuff, how often do they buy our stuff, what's their favorite flavor. Like that level of information about the consumers for us is just super exciting. So, and again, that information for us has been live for about 60 days, and I'm just like so excited and chomping at the bit for what we're going to be able to do with all of that in the coming months in terms of different loyalty programs and just things that we as a small brand are going to be able to turn on for the customers.
Using data to create custom audience segments.
Yeah, we also use Periscope. It's really, it's just got all of the tools to be able to track new customers and also retention metrics. As well as Amplitude, which is a new one that we just implemented that is, it seems to have all the bells and whistles for daily tracking, looking at the amount of discounts that we have out there, how our users are retaining month over month based on which cohort they came in through, which channel they came in. So that's really important in keeping us efficient in our marketing. As well as like social monitoring tools to understand, because sometimes things happen on social that like are a big buzz for the dog world. So trying to take advantage of those moments in time and get in front of customers or potential new customers at the right time with kind of like that fun, authentic message that is important to our brand.
Yeah, I will say like being in touch with what products are, for whatever reason, really popular for a short period of time is like one of the things that has really driven a lot of business for us. So I don't know if Planters is here, but there was a recent product re-release of cheese balls, this like I think 90s puffed cheese snack, and they sold like insanely crazy amount on our site. Like I was talking about conversion rates that were like 5 to 6 times better than like our average. So being able to understand very quickly when a product is going to be important for us like that was a huge driver for initial sales. Yeah.
And from an investor standpoint, we look at a lot of tools around the trend of conversational commerce. So kind of around the thesis of, the majority of customer service requests are repeatable. So there's a lot of way that you can use AI to automate those answers to free up bandwidth for if you have a disgruntled customer, things like that, to deliver a better experience. And again, tying back to that immediacy, that personalization, and that accessibility. I want to shift gears a little bit to talk more about retail and the brick and mortar experience. There's been more and more examples of brands that started online that migrated into retail. Lively just opened their first store. Obviously, Warby's expanding like gangbusters, and Casper. How do you think about retail? When do you start? When does a strategy make sense? And what would that experience look like?
I can start. So ALOHA, as I mentioned, started a few years ago, and it actually started just as an online business, which, again, for a CPG brand at that time was sort of a bit new. But it came to be, of course, that our consumer wanted to be able to buy products more than just on our website. She wanted to go to her Target or CVS and be able to find our products. So we started, ALOHA.com, and then we went into brick and mortar retail, and then we're also doing, of course, shopping on Instagram, things like that. So and then we're growing our online business as well. So it's really having an omni-channel experience where she is and where she wants to be able to find her products. And just in the past year, we've been able to grow our retail distribution pretty significantly. And then also our online business too. Our Amazon and Thrive Market businesses are doing great right now.
Yeah, so with BarkBox, we've been sending these in-home experiences for the past 6 years and making this personal connection. So I think when we started to think about retail, we really wanted to approach it in a way that the experience transferred over to where these products were living. So we want a kind of like curated selection and choosing the right partners. So right now we have an end cap at Target, which is huge for us. We've been live with them for a year plus now, and we make curated products that you really can't find on our e-commerce site, BarkShop, or in any of our monthly boxes. And we kind of update them seasonally to stay on trend. And also more recent partners that really fit into our overall experience and personality, urbanoutfitters.com, Bluestone Lane, the coffee shops. So kind of going into those spaces where you might not expect to see dog toys or dog products, but that a lot of that audience has a dog and they love their dog. So trying to fit into those spaces and be very selective about it.
So scaling through association, like-minded brands, things like that.
Yeah, and I think it's less about scaling up super quick in retail and more about selecting the right partners that fit our brand and our experience.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. We don't have a brick and mortar experience right now. It's something that we're exploring, but I think just kind of cap on the partnership angle, that's really been important to us, and to understand where you can find new and additional revenue streams has been also important to us. So we partner with a lot of airlines, for instance, to send the snacks and chips and stuff like that to airports. And if you're delayed or waiting for your flight, sometimes they'll pass out chips for you. Those come from Boxed. So or many times they'll come from Boxed. So I think finding stuff like that where you can insert your brand has been really important for us to grow as a company as well.
I think also a key trend that we keep hearing is it's that brand experience, that brand personality to shine through is just so critical. For each of you, how important is it to own that whole experience? I mean, you mentioned wanting to be where she wants to shop, which is really important, but also being in environments where you're going to have like-minded customers. So how do you think about owning that whole experience, making sure you can control the environment, collect the data, versus being where the customer wants to be or loosening the reins a little bit through other distribution partners?
I think, first of all, it's definitely extremely important for us to own that experience, not only the initial touch point of our website and, like I said, the different features that we may have to cater to you, or the different types of, people that come to us, but, beyond placing an order, what does that experience look like to the customer? We have our branded boxes with, very distinct coloring. We'll have a handwritten note. We'll send you a selfie of your box that a lot of people do share and like interact with. So I think those are the things that, beyond just the data collection, that is really important for us. And then I would say, the data is, extremely important to be able to, like I said, we use our data science team to make sure that we're servicing things that we feel like you may need or that you're going to run out of items soon. And those kind of features are only available when you own that experience for us. So I would say it is pretty important to be able to, interact at that level.
So just among friends in this room, what's next for your companies? Is it a new flavor that you're launching, a new capability, a new dog treat? Is there anything you can talk about in terms of what's in your mind for 2019?
Yeah, so fresh food for sure for us, and also liquor. So we want to be a solution where you can come and stock up your entire house, right? Like we want to be that like one-stop solution for you. There, as far as I know, there aren't any solutions that have every single one of those categories, and we're expanding in many areas that will have that. So right now in the New York City area, like you can order fresh food online, even seafood. We partnered with the Fulton Fish Market, so you can. I was so shocked that you could buy like sea urchin, like sushi grade like sea urchin uni to your house. So those are the kind of things that if our shoppers are demanding or wanting to have that as part of their experience, we want to be able to offer that as well.
Okay. Alex?
Sure. So on one note, we will have our products available in a bunch more places, so offline and online, starting this fall through Q1 and into next year, which is exciting. And then we have newly reformulated protein bars, which are rolling out now. I mentioned that a little earlier, but they still have 14 grams of protein, which is great, good fiber, but then just 4 grams of sugar, which is awesome, and a smoother texture too. So they're just delicious. We shared those at Expo East, which is a food conference, just a week or two ago in Baltimore. People are loving it so far. The buyers and different editors are loving our bars so far, which is great. We just launched a new flavor at Expo East as well, the caramel sea salt bar, which people are very excited about as well, which is great. And then we have some newly reformulated protein powders coming out too that have MCT oil in them. So MCT is a derivative of coconut, and it's just really good for digestive stuff like anti-inflammatory and a natural source of energy and endurance. So a lot of stuff happening.
Jordan?
Couple of areas. And the biggest one probably in terms of scale is in our subscription product is tailoring in more automated way to your preferences. So this comes in the form of about a year and a half ago, we started making a box product called Super Chewer because we realized that a lot of our customers were leaving us because their dog chewed up every toy. These plush.
It just fit their mouth too well.
Yeah, it may have. But as you know, dogs can be pretty persistent on toys. So, I mean, we had dogs, we were sending 3 or 4 toys out a month and they were tearing them up in 24, 48 hours. That doesn't make our product very valuable. So we went out and we developed these tough rubber toys that are safe, but they're long lasting. And we're gonna keep creating subscription products like that and allowing tailored modifications that you can easily adjust online and you don't need to reach out to customer service. So I think that's like the next evolution of our subscription business. Like Alex said, we're also getting into more places, retail spots where we can reach new audiences. Maybe they're not as social or digital as our first 6 years of customers. And then also more on BarkShop is health and wellness. For dogs, so that is like dental wellness, dealing with a lot of dogs, believe it or not, have anxiety, and that's the reason they bark up a storm. So creating products around that, even tapping into CBD to fight some of that anxiety, and seeing which areas our customers really love and what works for dogs and their humans.
So last question.
No. We really have to go to Q&A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we will go to the
You guys can hit the last. You guys
audience,
get about 5 minutes to do your last questions for the panel. Here you go.
Hi there, Brad Bernard from Harmelin Media. This question's for Alexandra. As you expand pretty boldly into retail, into brick and mortar, how are you managing channel conflict? Are you putting only certain products in retail and reserving some for just online? Or is this a push into brick and mortar, putting all your chips in?
There's a pretty big push into brick and mortar, and then supporting, making sure that we have the full portfolio available online where we can as well. But then for our ALOHA.com, it's about being as competitive as we can there. We're finding that consumers like coming to our site because of our unique subscription offering that we have. Again, like our protein powders are part of someone's like daily regimen. Like she has a smoothie in the morning. Our tins are 15 servings. So having a subscription through our site where she can get a cute box and a message from us is like, that's where she wants to order from. So it is about having the full assortment available sort of nationally where we can, but then for D2C having a unique sort of point of brand love sort of expression for her.
Back here.
Hey guys, Matt Baker, J3 Media. You guys have all talked about really impressive personalized experiences, very human relationship with your customers, and it's something that a lot of the larger CPGs are striving for. As the folks responsible for growth at your respective companies, do you worry about a tipping point where that practice is no longer sustainable, where you start to get so many sales that you can't take selfies with your boxes anymore and send them to every individual customer? And if so, how are you planning for that?
I mean, I think it's still going to remain a really important part of our business, and you should see, how our warehouse is being, more and more automated. So I can't talk too much about it, but we're, doing a lot with robotics to make, even that packing experience like faster and more automated, but at the same time, like, making sure that it has that human element all the time. So I think it's going to be a mix, like as we continue to scale, but it's definitely a key part of what makes us different.
Oh, right up here. Here, I got it.
This is Joy from Social Media Link. You all talked about the importance of personalization and personal connections. What is the role of personal recommendations and word of mouth been in your growth?
I think that is pretty huge for BarkBox in terms of trying to, kind of like get a sense of authenticity, but not just from our brand, and kind of like cultivating those conversations on social. So I think that, we are creating kind of like avenues for these customer interactions and kind of like featuring more of our customer experiences on our site, and using a lot of UGC, so it's not just us having a photo shoot and kind of like trying to portray, that experience between dog and human, but it's just letting it happen naturally and then featuring it on all of our properties.
Yeah, I think in figuring out how some of that personalization or the things that connect with the customers can scale is really important for us. So one example is that we created what we called creativity kits, which were literally the box, and you could cut it out and make like different shapes or animals or something with it, that had the box like stay at people's houses more, and really people shared it on social media and things like that. So I think in that sense that we're trying to figure out answer both questions actually, like what are those different elements that'll activate and connect with users while allowing us to scale up as well.
Scale is actually a great place to end this because it's a segue into our next talk. Jessica, panel, thank you very much.